decided as of right now that I'm not going to re-talk about the things that I talked about in the previous 2 videos. So if I explained them there, go watch those first. Anyway, I started those videos outside, and so I feel like you've seen enough of the outside at this point, and I'm going to, I think, release all of these at the same time. So I will not start from outside the house. There's nothing that's changed since then. This is a continuous walkthrough. They just had too many hours of things for the video because I got really worn out the past several months and I didn't have the energy to make videos. It takes a certain kind of energy to record the actual walkthrough and talk about all the things I've been doing and then edit that video. Not that I do a bunch of video editing, I'm not really that skilled, but I do edit some stuff, like taking things down in terms of if there's weird noises that pop up while I'm doing a walkthrough, or if I say something weird and then, you know, I want to cut that out because I repeat it later without it being weird or whatever. I do edit my videos just a little bit, and I didn't have the energy for any of that, so I wasn't doing it. And I then realized I have a lot of stuff to talk through, like probably 3 hours worth of stuff. So I've got 2 hours of other videos to watch already, and this is the third one. We're gonna go upstairs in this one, so we'll start off going upstairs. I mentioned in the previous video that I was gonna talk about this one at the top of the stairs, and I think I've maybe decided though, since walking through that bottom level, that I might get rid of this one. So it turns on the lights here, the one at the top of the stairs and then the one that shines down on the art. And what I've decided is that it might make more sense. I had talked about downstairs there's like a smart home hub thing in the hallway, and that I imagine that controlling all the lights and being sort of like a Google or Alexa product where you can talk to it and control your lights and things. And instead of having these switches all over the place that don't actually work the way that I want them to anyway, it would make more sense, honestly, to just have several of those hubs placed around so you could talk at it and turn on the lights that way. So if I'm walking up the stairs, the whole purpose of these was if your hands are full and you can't hit a light switch very easily, or if you get to here and realize, oh gosh, it's a lot darker going down the stairs than I thought it was, you have lights turn on automatically that kind of help with that, right? And there aren't any light switches at this part. They're all the way over here. You'd have to walk back. So I guess I'm lazy. Anyway, so the thought was that, you know, this would turn them on for you, but really, if I had the smart hub things nearby, so like one in this bonus room, one down near the bottom of the stairs somewhere, it would pick up your voice and you could shout the command to, or not even shout necessarily, but say a command to have it turn on these lights for you if your arms were full, carrying things up or down the stairs. So I might change that so that one that's at the top of the stairs and throughout the house, all of these little triggers. The ones in the garage I think I'll leave there because you're not controlling that with your voice when a car pulls in, right? But the rest of them don't make as much sense as I thought they did, so I might get rid of those. Anyway, we've got the rest of this. I did change some of this lighting stuff. So we've got when we do the nighttime walkthrough, we'll show off the lighting changes here. It's slightly different than it was before. But here I added a mouse pad to this. They added that to the game, so now I could add it everywhere else. I forgot to talk about that downstairs. I did add one to the downstairs office. I didn't walk in there to show off the changes. We're going to do that real quick, actually. I forgot that I made changes in that downstairs office, and they're worth talking about because they are significant and neat. So we're going to come in here real quick. So one of the things I did was I added a trash can. Not significant or neat, really, but I did. I'm pretty sure I added the notebook and the pen, and then I definitely added this mouse pad, although I'm thinking I might change this one to just be the small square-sized rectangular. Why was I going to say that? The square-sized mouse pad that goes just underneath your mouse, because this is a work computer. You're not gaming at it, so probably. Although it is the dad's computer, maybe he likes to game. Maybe I'll leave this the way it is. Anyway, so it's got a mouse pad now and this notepad and pen. And then it's got this little cabinet here. Its only purpose really is so that the safe has a place to sit. Because what I would have done if this existed in the game and I'm really glad they added this to the game because it's perfect for this house. But they added this with, I think, the Scooby-Doo content. And that was newer than my build, way newer than my build. And so I wasn't anticipating a safe. And so I didn't save a spot for it, but the safe would probably go in this office. And I would have built it into the wall, but these walls aren't thick enough for a built-in safe, right? And if I added walls thick enough for that, I would cut out all the walking space around this desk. So I'd only have the one side that you could walk by, and I don't really like that. I don't. So I decided I'd put in this little cabinet despite really not liking that way and preferring that this was a built-in wall safe with like maybe a picture over it to mask the fact that there's even a safe there at all. That's how I would have designed it, but I don't have that option now. So it's just gonna sit on top of this cabinet. But I did add stuff. So these are technically, oops, not that one. These are evidence folders. They didn't have just like empty file folders. We're gonna fly in close. I have several of them stacked up. So like my thought is that important documents are inside these folders. The folders are inside this safe. And then as you can kind of see here, it's getting closer, there's badges in here. These aren't meant to be badges though. These are meant to be passports. So when I back up, all you can see is the picture and a name and stuff. And so it's a passport. And there is more money tucked behind, so I'll stay in here and just rotate my camera for a minute. So we've got several of the hundreds stacked up, 2 stacks each, and then wrapped around. So this is like your emergency cash, your passports, whatever is important that's in this notebook that needed it to be in the safe. I imagine this one's not quite so critical in terms of the information housed inside, but that's all the stuff that went in this safe. So I've really, really loved that they added that. I'm excited to be able to add it to the game, so I wanted to talk about it. Worth coming back down the stairs for that, even though it's going to turn on lights again. There it goes. Okay, so I added that downstairs. I added one up here. I also added that same thing to the boys' bedroom. So there's a mouse pad here now underneath the keyboard and mouse, which I love that they added that to the game. I don't even know, those might have been in there before and I just didn't find them when I was doing all the computer stuff, but they're new to me, so they're added now. And then same with the speakers. I added some computer speakers and then just a strip speaker to go behind, so you kind of got surround sound in case you don't want your headphones on. Maybe that's just a me thing, but sometimes headphone sound is like too intense and I'd rather it come from further away. And so I have that going on here, is that it's recording, or it's sending out the sound from the headphones. And then, or that would have gone through the headphones. Sorry, I'm losing my words here. It's sending out the sound through the speakers instead of the headphones. You've got options. I did also add laundry detergent in here, and then I'm not going to open it, but under the sink here, I added properly the wastebasket, the toilet plunger, the toilet scrubber, and then the toilet cleaner. I guess I could fly in so you can see it. I think I added the cleaner. Yeah, I did. So those are all in under the sink now. And then in the daughter's bedroom, I didn't make really significant changes, but I did add laundry detergent in here too. So it's there, whatever. Not a big change. Let's see. Going back out. I'll close this door too. I made lighting changes, so I will walk into these bedrooms and like walk around a little bit with the lighting changes. I added the cleaner under this sink too. I need to add the spray kind though that was in the kitchen. I meant to do that before recording this video, but I did not. So yes, in the kitchen walkthrough I showed the toilet bowl cleaner is down there too, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But then there's also like the spray kind, and so that's the spray kind should also be up here for cleaning mirrors and stuff. In this bedroom, I made some changes, I guess. Let's see. Firstly, I put up photos here, and so at one time I had mentioned that this is supposed to be for a wedding dress, her wedding dress, the mom's. And I had been talking about like, oh, my wedding dress was gorgeous, and I really want a display like this in my house when we build our house eventually. And I put pictures of it in. I made changes to the faces on these so that I wasn't doxing IRL friends and family. But and for this one, the little girl, even though that's the right dress, that is the dress that we had on our flower girl. I used the picture that I found online of the flower girl, and then I just superimposed her into the photo. But this is like, when I bought the dress, this was the picture of the flower girl for the listing of that dress. But it matched my dress so perfectly like that. It's gorgeous. So this is the back of my dress, and the whatever, all the stuff. And then this is the front and what my wedding party actually wore. And we had paper parasols just like that. So the guys are wearing tuxes like that, and they had the little calla lilies on their vest lapel. And so yeah, this is what this looked like. And I just loved this dress. It's very Renaissance-y, and I have a thing about the Renaissance. So it's just, and it had color. I didn't want an all white wedding dress, so it had this like flash of red. So if it was on display in here, it would be kind of turned towards the side so that you can see that back of the dress if you're looking from this side, because it was just too gorgeous for that to not be shown, right? But you also want to see the strip of red across the bodice, and there was beading and detailing across the bodice. So anyway, I added those photos because I wanted to. And at first I only added the one that's got the back of the dress because that's the most impressive part. And then I figured that that looks really awkward for in the master bedroom for there just to be a picture of the bride and the flower girl. That's weird. So then I was like, okay, I will add a photo of of the actual wedding party and all that stuff. And so I put them in. But again, like I said, I made sure I changed their faces so that I'm not doxing people. These are fake people faces. Yay. But yeah, so that's, I wanted pictures of it. In here, we did just a little bit. I put stuff under the sink, so there's toilet bowl cleaner now, along with the, oops, I wasn't down low enough, along with the bathroom accessories, the toilet bowl cleaner and the plunger and the wastebasket. I technically duplicated, oops, I didn't mean to open that one yet. I was trying to close this door. If I can close it, I'm probably too low. There we go. I duplicated it under this sink as well. I really only need the wastebasket under this sink, or I could get rid of the cleaning supplies under this one and put the spray one that would be for glass and tile and stuff under here. That's probably what I'll do, is I'll get rid of the toilet cleaning supplies under this one and make it the sprays, because this one's technically kind of closer to the toilet. But yeah, so they're just duplicates at the moment, so I won't open the other one. And then I did add, there's going to be shelves in here, so it's not going to just all be full of Kleenex, but I did add some backup Kleenex and some Kleenex up top. And then I also have a toothbrush. I meant to add one over here, but haven't gotten to that yet. So toothbrush incoming for the other sink. But otherwise, that's the changes I made to the bathroom. I think I also hung these towels since my last video. I can't remember, but those might be new. And maybe the curtains? I don't know. I did a little bit, but not a whole ton. Otherwise, the rest of this is relatively the same. So yeah, this is the upstairs. Now it's time for the basement. I made significant changes in the basement. Not tons. It's definitely not done, but there's been work. I finally got some stuff done in the basement, so it's worth showing off. This is, by the way, what I meant when I said that the metals show up properly in the build mode, because I'm in build mode right now. And before, you couldn't tell that this was rose gold and wood on this table. You couldn't see all the little braided, twisted, whatever you want to call it, pieces of accent along the bottom. This just didn't really show up all that nicely, and now it does, because they fixed how that looks, and I just adore it. I'm so happy. I mentioned that in the first video when I was outside doing the outside walk around, and I'm very pleased with it. So okay, so this is downstairs. I didn't really add anything to this hallway, and I didn't make many significant changes down here. I did add the lights that I promised I'd add, and then I added some lights along the ceiling, because with the lighting changes, even though it's brighter everywhere, if I turn all the other lights off, it felt really dim along the sides. So we now have lights along these sides to light the space up a little bit more, but mostly the only change was the end tables got their lights that I promised I would do. So that's different. But also, so at the edges, I trimmed it out with this darker wood, and that wraps around the corner. So it's like a post of darker wood. That way I didn't have to extend this lovely coloring and, you know, styling that I've got going on in the game room. I wanted that to be exclusive to the game room. This is just how this room looks. And I wanted to be able to do something different with the hall and the rest of it. And so I wrapped the wood around these corners. That way I wouldn't have to completely block it off with like an archway or something. It doesn't need a doorway. I didn't want that. I wanted it to feel open. But it can still like transition the very different styles between the hallway and the bonus room without it looking bad. Like this doesn't make my eyes scream at me the way it would if this wall just went straight up to that corner and that wall went straight up to that. That would look awful. So this was my solution, was to wrap the corners in a wooden post, essentially. We'll talk about this room in a minute. You can see it's not quite finished, which is why it'll be one of the last things we talk about. And then I did make some changes in that mature content room, so that'll be at the very end. I'll do both the daytime and nighttime walkthroughs of the mature room at the end, and I'll do daytime, nighttime of this all as one chunk. But for daytime, this is the movie theater. So pretend that these curtains close over the door, because they used to, but when they did, then the door had to open out into the hallway, and really it should open inwards. So these curtains are, oops, I didn't mean to open that. I meant to do this. The curtains are wide enough to fit over this entire door. So you would just pull them inwards more, and then you can push them all the way to the side once you're done with them, right? So the door doesn't want to open into curtains. Yeah, so that's that. I have light switches here for the kitchen. I've got two different kinds of lights going on. Actually, I'm going to turn this on so that I can turn them on. So we've got the under light for this cabinetry if you're trying to like grab a snack in the middle of a movie. That's what this is. I didn't mention that this is the movie room. And then we've got the overhead light if you're just coming in for the first time and you're making everyone snacks. You can use the big overhead light and it's gonna light up the space a lot more, would definitely conflict with the movie. So there's two options for that. And then there's also lights inside each of the cabinets. And my thought was that these motion detectors would only turn on the light for their door when the door opens. So really they're not supposed to be motion detectors. They would be that kind where it's like not quite a clip. I think they're usually magnets, but that the magnet when it's closed keeps the light off, and then when it's open would turn the light on for as long as it's open. Then as soon as it closes, it turns that light off again, right? So it's kind of like a little switch in that way. That was my thought, but I put in order to sort of portray that that's the setup here, I put these ones in instead. So they're the motion activated sensor type switches, but they each control their own little part. So if I walk over here, then this one should turn off, right? So each one has its own little cabinet that it controls, which is kind of neat. I didn't put anything in the drawers or cabinets here or in the fridge, but I did at least design it so that it looks like, you know, there's space for snacks. There aren't really snacky things in the game yet, so. We've got a light switch for these overhead lights. Let's see if I can get that on without too much fuss. There we go. Overhead lights, they'll show up better once I have it in nighttime mode, so I'll go over that again. And then above that is, I can't remember if remotes are allowed to have magnets near them or if that's dangerous to them. So these are either magnetized or they are Velcro, but this is where the remotes live as soon as you're done watching your film on the TV. That way you don't have to go hunt them down within this space to be like, oh, which person was sitting where when they last used remotes, right? So the remotes are here. There's one that would control like the projector plus the screen. And then there's one that would control all of these speakers. So I'm not an audiophile. I don't really know anything about speakers and how they should be set up. So I did a little bit of research to try and get this close to accurate. They wanted speakers down at like seat height instead of kind of up in the middle here. They wanted one row down and then one row up in the ceiling for a stadium ceiling in home theater, or seating, sorry, not ceiling, stadium seating in home theater. But I didn't want to put in like 6 lights on either side, or not lights. I didn't want to put in 6 speakers on either side that felt pretty intense. So I ended up opting for these long ones, which are probably not the right speakers. So please don't jump all over me. I know that this isn't the correct setup completely, but it looked the nicest. So I went with it, because really what I would do is bury these speakers into the walls a bit, and not have them stick out like this. And then that would look nicer, and you could use the chunkier ones that you're probably supposed to use. But I ended up using the thin ones because they looked nicest. They were the lowest profile, and these are fancy people, so I wanted it to still look nice. But I did at least put fabric on all of the wall. All of this black wall is fabric, and it goes all the way out to the door, and that's also the reason for these curtains. If you pull this away, behind here is fabric until the door, so the curtains can be pulled all the way over the door, so that sound isn't bouncing. That's the whole point, is to make it so that there's as little sound bounce as possible around all of this stuff. Oops, I meant to do that. Okay. So the walls are fabric. There's curtains there, not just to block light coming in, because it really wouldn't probably mess with the movie all that much. It's the door's far enough away, but to block the light a little bit, and then mostly to block sound bouncing off of that door was the reason I put up curtains. And then each of these chairs has a table next to it, so you've got a spot for your drinks and snacks, and it's just that the middle one has to share. I did also take care to alternate the placement of the couch versus the chair. I could have just done all chairs, but I wanted there to be like snuggly spots, right? So if you're sitting with your partner and you want to, like, if the mom and dad are sitting down here together and they want to snuggle up on the couch, they can do that. So I put some couches and some chairs, but I alternated them. That way, like, this one is really just, if you're sitting at that top one, this person's head is not going to get in your way. They're far enough below. The middle row is the only one that has a conflict, right? This one gets its own view completely. Same with this one, own view completely. These ones alternate, so they're not going to overlap. But this middle row, if the person sitting here happens to be really tall, the next row up, depending on how short they are, might have some troubles. I did try to avoid that by having it be a two-step for each of these instead of just a single step up. So hopefully that's enough height difference, but you're a family. This is in your home. If someone is too tall in front of you, you can just ask them to sit somewhere else, right? So trade seats with you or something. So that's the nice thing about this being an in-home theater versus an actual movie theater. I also then put low pile carpet along here because this is going to be the most used part of the floor. Like, everyone's going to have to walk across this part, versus in here, you're only walking in here if you're going to one of these seats. So I put the thicker carpet, plus then when you're sitting, you get more cushiony carpet underneath your feet. So that was a design choice specifically, and I made them separate colors so that it made sense why they were different kinds of carpet. So that was that. And I think that's all for the theater. I was careful to check that, and you can't sit on these couches for some reason. I think these are newer ones, but they didn't enable sitting. I think that was probably overlooked. The couch and the chair, you can't sit in them. So I couldn't double check, but I'm pretty sure that when you're sitting, the height of this projector doesn't actually conflict with your view of the screen. I'm nearly certain. So hopefully that's true. Otherwise, maybe it backs up a little, but I was trying to make it so that it wasn't in, like, conflict with someone's head, right? Because the further I back it up, it's then reaching potential conflict with heads. The further down folks are sitting, the less likely that is. But also, the further I move it out, the more likely it is to catch view from this, right? So, like, as you're sitting, the further away from you it is, more likely it is in your peripheral as you're watching the movie. So I tried to keep it close enough, but not in head range. Anyway, that was a lot of explaining for that. I'm sorry. I'm all done with the movie theater explaining now. So we're going to go to nighttime view. We'll start at the stairs again. So I'm going to bring us back. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about this bonus room. I lied. We're not done yet. Okay, so this is the bonus room. Or not bonus room. This is the, like, fitness room. It's not the workout room. This is like the actual gym room, workout room. It's not built yet, obviously. I don't have anything over past this corner done. But there is going to be actual, like, workout equipment. This is all they have besides some freestanding barbell weights, but I forgot to put those in, so they're not in the game yet. Or they're in the game, but they're not in my design yet. But this is more of like an aerobics workout sort of room, and then some small free weights, the handheld ones and the kettlebells. So that's what's here. We've got handheld weights, kettlebells, some more yoga mats. I'll talk about those in a second. And then the rolly thing, I think I've never used that. I think that it's for your back, that you roll your back on it. Maybe it's for your legs. I don't actually know. I've never seen it used. Sorry. But I do know about these. I don't know about the balls either. Never used these either. But I put in different colors for the different family members. I've covered that before, but these are the kids' colors. And then we've got white and gray for the dad and mom, white for the mom, gray for the dad. And then the same, so we've got matching for each of the colors in yoga mats, right? So the other two are rolled up. The kids left theirs out. They were recently using them. They were recently using a lot of things in this house. They're not very good at putting things away. I think that's the theme here. Mostly I just wanted things out so I could show them off in their various stages. And make the place look a little lived in. But we also have 2 guest balls and yoga mats for if you've got like friends over, either the adults or the kids or some combination of the two, to have their yoga mats out as well. I think there's enough space for all of them to line up across here, but even if there aren't, you can put some up here. I do intend to put a TV on this wall, so when I come back down next time, hopefully this will be fully designed. There should be a TV on this wall so you can watch like instructional yoga videos or workout videos in general, aerobics sorts of things. And then also I thought about, but I'm not sure that I thought I looked through and couldn't find any. I wanted like a sound system to go here, something that would be like speakers, and then you could hook up Bluetooth to it. Maybe it had a spot for CDs, even though those are kind of gone, but I imagine the parents are old enough to still have CDs. Maybe even they have tapes, but they don't have, when I was looking through, it didn't appear as though they had a sound system set up that could do radio and Bluetooth and, you know, all the stuff. So I've got speakers and I'll put those up around the room, but I'm not sure what to do about the sound system. I kind of, though, want a little short table here to put a sound system on in case they ever add one to the game, because that's my intention would be to have that, because that'd be another way to relax in here with yoga. If you're doing more of a meditative yoga, is to have the sound system going, or you could put it on the TV too. But yeah, that's sort of the thought. So this is the last room, I promise. And now we'll head back upstairs and I will get us into position for your nighttime walkthrough, which should hopefully be somewhat shorter. So we will be starting here for that, and I will see you in a moment for nighttime. Thank you. Okay, so we're at the nighttime view, and we're gonna go up the stairs. I'm not gonna turn on the lights because, again, it's not scary anymore. I'm so happy that they changed the ambient lighting to be just a little bit brighter. This feels nice. So that's that automatic light turn on, and it's the one overhead too. Again, I might get rid of that and swap it for the other thing, but I left it for now because it was in the daytime video and I wanted to show off what that does at nighttime. If I turn lights on, I think this is the one for those. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know that I showed this before, but if I have the lights on already and then I walk over and activate this and then walk away, it turns them off, right? So it overrides the switches, which is another reason I'm thinking about taking it down, because I don't actually know in the real world how that would work, if it would override switches or if it could be set up to be smart enough not to do that. Either way, I think that having a smart hub would make the most sense for their family. Something that you could talk to turn on lights if you needed to. So I'll probably go that route and take down a bunch of these. We'll see. Anyway, nighttime. So I did want to show off the lighting. So that I made changes to this. It's a little less bright on the ones that go over top of the art here. And then downstairs here, the lighting, I think I didn't have to change that it was fine the way it was. And actually I want to go turn on the downstairs lights. Let's see if I can do that. Hold on. Let's just do this. Is that all the lights? No. What lights did I turn on there? Okay. This should be everything, and I won't go stand in front of stuff. yeah, so this is what the front looks like with all the lights on, which, oh, actually, it's still missing some. Can I get past? I can. No, I walked in front of something. That's the hallway lights. I guess I can leave those on too. That's the front door lights. I don't want those on. I want these on, and I want these on. Are those on? I think it's these ones. Yeah, these ones on. Okay, now I've got everything. Okay, so this is what the front looks like when all the lights are on. The overhead chandelier, and then these two side ones that go over the art, and the art is lit up. So it's not really too bright. I definitely made adjustments to lighting in here so that this wouldn't be overwhelmingly bright during the nighttime. So this is what this looks like. I had to adjust a lot of these strip ones to get them to be the right lighting. So go ahead and turn off most of these. I think that's almost everything. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, because then that's just the up top lights. Okay. I'm apparently flying. I didn't mean to be. Actually, let's fly to here because I want to leave those lights on. Haha, flying's nice. So that's with these lights on, and then we're going to turn on all the other lights. That's the outside and then the inside. So now we've got, let's do the outside lights here too. Okay, so now we've got the upstairs lights on, everything that would light up this area. And see how that's not like super bright? I definitely made changes here to make it not scream at you. I'm going to turn off these ones. And we're going to go outside. Actually, leave them on for a second because I think they come through outside. So this is outside this way with these lights on. And I did dim these a little bit so that they look nicer instead of blinding you with all the white. And then we can turn these off this time. We'll go out here. I definitely made adjustments to these. I left one of them bright because it actually looked nice with one bright and then the other two. We've got three, right? So I've got these three lights. This one's the bright one. And then these two got diminished a bit in terms of their output. And then, yeah, so that's what this looks like from outside with the lighting changes. I didn't adjust anything in that bedroom. It still looks the same. We can turn off that light and that light. We'll turn on the hallway lights. So it's not too bright. Those hallway lights are brighter. I might dim a couple of them. We'll see. But it's not too bad with the lights on. Yeah, okay, I lied. Once I walk down here, I think one of these two or both needs to be a little dimmer so that this isn't quite so in your face bright. I do like how this looks down here though. This looks fine. In the bedrooms, we have these lights, and then these were these lights. So actually, if I turn this off and turn on these, this is what this now looks like at nighttime with the lights on, which I think is kind of nice. Okay, and then if I turn those off and just have the nightstand lights on in this, then it's a little brighter, but not overwhelming. And you can turn off these, and then it's even a little bit more dark, but it's still bright enough to see everything in here. So I didn't have to make changes in the closet, which is nice. I did make a couple changes to the lights in here, so they're not so overwhelming. I think I only had to change, I didn't change the shower one. I only had to change this one, so that was nice. And then let's see, I think in the, oh, I left this door open, whoops. In here, oh, that's that light. I didn't mean to do that one. I did dull these lights a bit because they were very glowy. So now we've got the nice, softer lighting effect going on in here. And then this goes out there. Let me close this door. I'm not neurotic. Who's neurotic? I did, I did change the lighting in here a bit so that it would feel more comfortable. And then if you've got the nightstand lights on, it's just a little bit brighter, but it's not too bad. I maybe need a light by this desk so that you can like game without having all the overhead lights on. I don't know. We'll see. I'm debating that. It's not confirmed yet whether I'll add a light there or not. We'll find out. I did make some adjustments to this one. It's not quite so bright, but it's not also dull, so it's nice. And oops, This one as well. Turn that on. So this is that light. This is with these on. Again, not super screamy in your face bright. I guess I could turn on the closet at the same time. You can see still not too bad. And if I turn off all the lights except for the closet's still well enough lit. I did dim that light a little bit for that purpose. And then this is that hallway. So you can even see over in here without it feeling too dark. Bedroom. We have overhead light here. That looks nice. It's not too bright. These nightstand lamps, again, not too bright. Let's see if I go in here. Oh yeah, this is, I think, the display only light. So that's what the display looks like. And then the overhead lights. And then if I've got both on, it does get a little bit bright, but also fine. It's not that bad. But if you just left this one on all the time, then it would be like that when you have the lights on. So that's kind of nice looking, isn't it? Okay, so then we'll close these doors again. Sorry about my neuroses with closing doors. I'm not sure what's up with that. It's just something that they have to be closed. I think it's because there was a different build I did, the very first video I have, where there was a door that if I left it open would like get stuck and then not ever open or close again, and I'd have to pull it out and put it back. So I think that made me sufficiently paranoid about leaving doors open, and now I just have to close all of them in the game all the time. Kind of fun things. All right, so then we've got these. Oh, that was the fan. That's right. These lights. So that's everything turned on here. And then if I turn off these, those are the shower lights. So this is if you're not taking a shower and you just want regular amount of light, or if you're just taking a shower and you just want light, or bath, I guess, one of the two, and you just want mood lighting over that. This is a lot dimmer then, but it is right over top of the shower or bath. And then in here, oh wait, I have to be on the other side of this door. That's the only bad thing about this setup, is that it definitely closes off the space if this door is open. I would have done a pocket door, but those don't exist. Like, this is perfect amount of space for a pocket door to slide in here and then come back out. They don't exist, so I couldn't do that. But yes, this is the bathroom, and again, not too bright, not too dark. It's a nice amount of light. So that's the bathroom, and we're all done upstairs looking at lights and lighting effects and how things changed. I did make tiny adjustments in the office, but I don't feel like they're worth showing off with the lighting, so I won't. We will just go downstairs and show off the basement stuff next. So we've got this. I guess here somewhere, yeah, is a light switch for the lights. So as you come down, then it's like this, right? And then I've got a light switch here for that one. And it also turned on all of these little side lights, because otherwise it was, without those, it was just this light, and it was, and the one up here, and it was pretty dark around the corners. So this makes it feel better. Then if you turn on these lights, it's a little bit more bright in here. They do a decent job lighting up the space. And then this is the light switch for over the pool table. So if you light up everything, this is how that looks. It's pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the ice hockey, or I keep calling the ice hockey, air hockey table. So this is what it looks like when it's fully lit up, which is pretty good. And then I'll turn off these other lights. I did not put lights in the hallway down here, just to be warned. So I have not gotten to that yet because the hallway's not actually officially done. We need the air hockey light off too. But I did put lights in the movie theater room. So there's a switch going in so that as you enter, because the doors open pretty wide and they're far away from the wall, so you can't just like walk in and hit a button here. It's a little harder, and you can't. Originally, when the doors opened out here, all the light switches were right here, and that was handy. But again, you don't want your doors to open out into the hall. You want them to open into the room. So I ended up putting this out here. It's unfortunate that someone could turn on the lights in the movie theater while you're watching a movie. Ideally, you'd put like something here that has like a little switch to it that you could flip here that would say like now or movie in progress or something, right? Like something you can light up so that someone's not going to flip this switch while you're in here watching a movie. That's the goal, I guess. So then we've got this light that's under the cabinet light. Actually, let me turn off the overhead lights. So if you're coming for your snack in the middle of a movie, that's just going to light up under the cabinets for you. Or if you don't need that and you just want like just the one for the one cabinet you're going into, then that's going to open when you open the door. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to walk away from this one. This is the completely overhead light, so you would only use that probably if these were also on, right? So you're getting settled for a movie, you're making popcorn and stuff, then this overhead light could be on, you have full kitchen lighting. Otherwise, you're not going to be using that light. You'd use this one most likely when you're just gonna have the kitchen going. So that's that, and there's not really much to show about this. I guess I'll walk in here. I did a little bit, but the lights are on either side here so that you've got enough light to come find your seat, since there aren't any windows in the basement. And that's all. That's everything for the basement. I will now go talk about the mature themed room because there were changes in there since they added some stuff that I could add in the room and also lighting changes and whatnot. So we'll go talk about that room next. I will start us here. So this is your warning that if you don't want the mature content stuff, that's not of interest to you, turn off your video here, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Now, on to mature content. Okay, so this is a daytime view. I know that technically we're in the basement, so none of this should have any light from daytime view. We've talked about that before. But because it does, I figure I'll do a day and a nighttime view anyway. So this is the dungeon room now, the BDSM room. They added like manacles, shackles, whatever you want to call them, handcuffs to the game. And they have ones that go in walls. So like this one, and then I've got one above the bed there, and ones that go in ceilings. Now I did leave my loops in place because I feel like they serve a different purpose. These are all chained to like one central ring versus these would spread your arms apart on purpose, right? So I left the loops in place. I thought about removing them and just putting handcuffs everywhere, but because of how they were designed, I left both. I figured it doesn't hurt. They also, because this is all part of the Scooby-Doo mystery pack, right? So it's like, I'm so glad that they added a Scooby-Doo mystery pack and could add handcuffs, manacles, shackles, whatever. And so we've got a collar, because Scooby-Doo is a dog. So I was able to put a collar under the bed. I'm just so happy about that. Insanely happy about that. They also did add gates. I showed those when I was walking around the outside. And I know I've mentioned when I was previously showing off this room that the middle here is supposed to be a gate and that there weren't gates in the game. So you just have to imagine that. I think that they also added like a shorter fence. And if they did, I can maybe redo this one, depending on what that looks like, if it's bars or not. If it's just like wooden posts all the way around, you want to be able to see in. This is supposed to look like a cage, so I wouldn't be able to replace it then. But if they did, it had a shorter gate that went along with it. So I could maybe switch out this whole thing for something that actually looks appropriate. We'll see. So with the addition of these, I'm going to call them handcuffs going forward, these handcuffed things, I added them in one of the shower stalls. Now you have to imagine that they would be looped up higher because you're not going to want to bonk your face on them as you're walking in. So there has to be like a way to, maybe they're even just resting on top of this, although metal on metal, that might lead to rusting with this being a shower environment. But somehow they're like up, hanging up higher. They're not in here, but I thought that'd be kind of fun. So I added them to the shower. That's really the only change I made to that space, but fun little change. I did make a big change to this space though. So it's expanded. They added two things that really I just couldn't fit in with it being a smaller storage closet. So this, which has a door. Did I rotate it so that I can't see the door now? Hold on. Where's the opening? I'll rotate this. I feel like this is the door side. I feel like I see hinges. Yeah. So it opens. I'll maybe leave it like this orientation. So yeah, it's got a door on it, which is like super cool. It's an actual cage. If my under the bed was round, I could just use this instead. But yeah, so that was a really neat thing that they added, and I was like, okay, well, I have to have that. That's perfect. And then they added the stalks, and I was like, oh, right. So yeah, like those are definitely going in. And they also open and close, which is cool. Apparently they hit the ceiling. Whoops. Hold on. I'm not moused over them. But they do open and close. I don't know if the ceiling in that other space is taller. These are the same height. They don't open all that much, I guess. But I think with a taller ceiling, they can open all the way. But yeah, they're super fun. So I added these, and then I pulled the table down since it doesn't need to be... I don't need to save that space anymore, so it doesn't have to be stuck up against the wall anymore. And now it kind of blocks you from accidentally knocking over these lights because it's in the way. You have to actively move it. And that allowed me to get this out of the way too. The thing that I said was supposed to be a clothes hanger, but I could see someone suspending people from it. So yeah, I didn't add anything else really to this. Like there's, oh, I did add one more thing. So let's fly a little bit. I added some more of like extras of the handcuffy chain things up top. So besides the ones that are already in the room, there's extras in case you want to hang them other places, or you have more people that you want to handcuff to this wall. So yeah, that's what I did in there. We will come back in one moment and do this as a nighttime walkthrough. Give me just a moment. Okay, so now we are in the nighttime view, and I will go show off all of these things with their cool reflections with the lights that we actually have going on in here. So we've got this light for the purple. So all the chains reflecting all that purple looks really cool. And then the one next to the cross was red. I'm repeating the colors because I'm figuring most people probably don't remember since it's been so long since I made that other video. And then the one next to the bed was also red. So that's how this all looks lit up with all the ambient. I'm still doing it. The ambient in-room lighting. And then the color goes from black to like red, you know, with the lights down here, which is kind of cool. I didn't have to change their intensity any, which is nice. And I will turn them off. I did change the intensity of, ooh, just red though. I did change the intensity of the lighting in the bathroom a little bit, so we'll go in there for a second. Where's the middle of my screen? Why do I have such a hard time with this? I should just like on my actual screen, not inside the like what's being shown. I should put like a little marker on the middle of my screen so I can find it when I'm doing these videos. That'd be nice, right? You wouldn't have to watch me futz with trying to turn off the lights without turning on my HUD. Okay, so here's the bathroom now. And like I said, I did change the lighting in here a little bit. I'm pretty sure. I hope I did. Yes. So this, I always forget how grayscale this room looks. Like, it's definitely on purpose. I designed it with grays, but it's very gray. It almost looks like I lost all the color in my game suddenly. And I remember I had that issue. I think that there was some light from outside coming in that was sort of an orangey color, like overhead, because I was doing a live that was the playthrough walkthrough or the playtest walkthrough, and so the lighting outside can change over time, and so I think that there was some sort of like reddish, maybe sunset light coming in, and then it switched to just night and took all that light away. I think that was the jarring switch in the last video, the actual last, not series of 3, but the previous video to this set of 3. I think that was what happened and why I suddenly, quote unquote, lost all the color and got really confused. Pretty sure. I rewatched it, and that's what that flicker felt like to me, was that it had shifted outside night lighting temperatures, and but that's how that happened. But anyway, I've got the chains in here now too, so they, I mean, I showed that off before, but this is how they look with the lighting. And the lighting with all the lights on isn't really overwhelming. Like I said, I tried really hard to dim things to make it still look the way that I had intended. And this is just with the shower lights on. And then if I turn just these lights on, that's what this looks like. It's so soothing being in here with just the other lights on, in my opinion. And then we'll go into that other room because I definitely made lighting changes in here. I made a few of them because I had added a bunch of lights and then I was like, oh, that's too many now that the lighting changes hit. So then I had to take some out too. So this is that room with the lighting in. So it's still bright enough that you can see everything, but it doesn't glare at you. It doesn't blind your eyes, hopefully, unless you're really light sensitive. And then I'm sorry, this whole thing probably blinds your eyes. I'm light sensitive the other direction, where if I don't have too much, then, or like if I don't have enough, then I just really can't see because I've got vision issues. So, yeah. So this was the still very plastic eggplant. It's really like eggplants themselves. Oops. Eggplants themselves are pretty plasticky outside. Like the outside texture is going to be that. It's the fact that the top of it doesn't, it looks shiny and that their leaves are not that shiny. So it's just like, it looks fake and I love it for that. Like I shouldn't love it for that, but I do because I want it to be fake. Anyway, yeah, I'm flying. I didn't want to be flying. I had to fix that. Okay, so that was the last room. That is the lighting in the last room. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you enjoyed their lighting changes as much as I did, because I freaking find them fantastic. I could not be happier that they made these changes. The fact that I can walk around this house without lights on now makes me incredibly happy. I know that it's weird to be scared of the dark in a video game, but I am. I've got unrealistic fears of the dark. So this is fantastic and I'm so pleased. So thank you, devs, if you're watching. You're amazing and I love you. All right, that was everything. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching these videos. I know that they were long.